Welcome to test, ladies and gentlemen. So for those of you who have not played Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo, this is Sagat. He's doing this little laughing thing. He was so hard to beat. But anyways, man, I went ahead and grabbed a match for you guys between Wesley So and Kaasen from Norway. You know, one of the up-and-coming youngsters that we got out there. So all of my people coming from the Philippines, I would say Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from Norway, I would say Tusen Tak. Happy New Year to everybody, because it is not New Year's Day yet here, but across the ocean, it is New Year's for all of you guys out there. So congratulations to you guys for that, since you're ahead. But anyways, man, if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, son. So we got knight to f3. This does start as a ready, but as you guys know, probably 97% of the time, this is just a waiting move, and it pretty much is a move that kind of comes no matter what you play as white. So it generally transposes into something else. And this opening, until it gets to its final destination, is literally everything. So we have knight to f3, knight to f6, we got c4. So we do kind of have a little bit of an English game. We do see the move e6, we got e3, we got d5, knight goes to c3. We do see the move c5, and then we do see d4. So you see that we kind of have some Queen's Gambit decline stuff. We got some Tarrasch variation stuff. We do not have any Nimzo type situations or Rogozins with this move here. But as you guys can see, it went from knight to f3, and it pretty much got into everything. We do see pawn taking c4, and then bishop taking c4, and then we do have officially the Queen's Gambit accepted. It's a transposition into that. So like I said, you literally, as a d4 player, you pretty much have everything that you want in this opening. We do see the move a6, and you know b5 is going to be coming at some point. Black does not want this bishop to be positioned where it is. It's a little bit annoying. So we do see castles by white. We got knight to c6. We got rook going over to e1, just helping with this e4 pawn push at some point, possibly. And then we do see the move b5. And you do kind of have a decision that you want to make in this position. Do you drop back to b3 and risk a possibility of a c4 coming? Or do you simply go back to d3 and then drop back to c2? You do have the opportunity basically for that to transpose into each other, because bishop b3, you got bishop to c2 in both scenarios. It just kind of depends on how you personally want to play. So we do see Wesley So just simply backing up to the b3 square. He is still keeping an eye on this diagonal, and that is going to become very important later. Bishop does go to b7. We do see the move d5. And it doesn't look really crazy from first view, but after you see this next move, you're going to be like, what? You got pawn taking d5, and then what does Wesley So do? He sacrifices yet another pawn. It's kind of crazy because this is absolutely the way that you want to play this opening. You played rook to e1 for a reason. You're opposite this king. You do absolutely want this position to become as completely open as possible, and there definitely are some maneuvering situations here. In the game, we actually see pawn taking e4, and then we actually see the novelty of the game, which is knight to g5. And you definitely have some very serious threats. You have, the knights both converging on this pawn with this rook. But more importantly, you do have this f7 pawn being hit. We'll get into that stuff in a second. But after we did see the move e4, after we saw this variation right here, some of you guys might be like, hey, man, I'm just going to try to close everything down. Like, I don't want lines to get open. The problem is it is actually best to allow the lines to be open and allow the attack that you saw on the board, because if you try to close the position down, it will not end up favorably for you. After you see the move d4, you would be looking at the move e5, and it doesn't probably look like a lot at the moment. You absolutely probably do know that you cannot take here because you would be opening the game with pawn taking f6 and the king. With the queen on this open file and the rook on this open file is completely stuck on its square, and you would have to go bishop to e7 or knight to e7, and then you're just taking a whole bunch of stuff. But the problem is, even if you don't capture that pawn, or you don't capture this knight right here, this bishop is completely open. If you do have to move the knight at some point, probably like to g8 or something like that, you would be looking at also knight to g5, but then also you can push this e6 pawn. You are causing a lot of issues on this square here. So backing up, like I said, we did see this here. We did see the novelty of the game, which is knight to g5. In this specific position, what we actually have seen before, which is like probably one of the best moves in the position is actually bishop to g5. And you're just taking advantage of the fact that this pawn is pinned. And you have just completely developed every single one of your pieces. You're not worried about queen taking because this rook is going to be taken over here and you're just good to go. So, I mean, that is what we saw in the past. But Wesley So said, hey, bro, I'm not doing that. I'm putting my own flavor on it. Also, you know, like I said, you are taking a really serious look at this f7 pawn. So you will notice in moves coming up that white is constantly adding pressure to that very, very soft f7 point that I'm always telling you guys about. We do see the move c4, and Wesley So just says, bro, you know, I don't even care about that bishop, man. Like, you can take it if you want to. I do not fear c4. And he goes knight c takes e4. And as you guys can see from this specific move, it has completely opened up the d and the e files against this black king. We do see knight taking e4, and then we do see queen going to h5. Like I said, constantly threatening this f7 square. And I mean, look at this bishop. This poor bishop been dead, homie. It's like, hey, man, hey, what about me? Like, what I got going on over here? Wesley So was like, I don't even care about you, man. Shut up. So we do see the move in a to e5. And you do have to make an attempt of plugging the position up. Because, like I said, this D and E file are way too open for your liking. And you see where the king is at, bro. Help! I'm in the middle. Yes, he needs some help, bro. We do see knight taking E4. We got queen going down to D5. Why not threaten a checkmate, man? If you can get this knight to move somewhere, like just not care about anything, I mean, the queen is going to go to G2 in your face. But we do not see that. We see bishop to F4. We got pawn taking B3. And this is a very critical point in the game that we come to. Bishop takes e5, and you see that the discoveries and everything are just galore. Like, you got this bishop moving out of the way, this knight moving out of the way. I mean, you don't want to castle over here, right? Because, I mean, look at all this open board right here. It doesn't look promising for black. We see long castles. So, despite what I just got done saying, we do see long castles by black. And I mean, this position is just completely beautiful for white. Completely beautiful. But one of the only other ways that you really could have played this position is actually going bishop to e7, understanding that you are way too open and you do need to try to shut some stuff down. But you would be looking at rook a to d1. And what does the computer want you to do? Queen takes e4. What? The computer is a fool for this one. Like, bro, the computer is like, what do you, like, just give your queen away. Like, it's okay. No, it's not. Stockfish is not okay, bro. Let me go and go back up. We do see long castles by Kaasen. We got rook a to d1, and we have actually reached a position. Black has pretty much an only move to make in this position. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess what move that is, go ahead and do so. Okay, you know, we just discovered that the computer is suicidal and it doesn't really care about its life a second ago. And I really don't think anybody really guessed this move because I don't think it even enters anybody's mind. Like, yeah, man, I'm going to make this move. The computer wants you to do queen takes d1. What? Again, why is the computer just being so suicidal, bro? That square is super heavily covered, but it literally says that you need to go this way because you need to go into this fashion. Rook takes d1, rook takes d1, queen takes d1, and then you give a pawn away, or you give the piece away on e4. The computer is literally saying this is the only way you can play. And you're really hoping that after maybe like a pawn takes here or something like that, or you get the rook in the game, that you're going to have enough compensation. But it is deeming that the position is so horrible that you have to go and play in this fashion. But we do not see that. In the game, we do see rook a going to d1, and logically, Kaasen is like, I'm not giving my queen away against Wesley So. So he just simply moves the queen back to e6, but this makes the situation even worse. We do see rook going over to c1 with check. The bishop goes down to c6. We got knight to g5, and everything is pretty much covered, you know, if you are on the white side. I mean, everything is pretty much good to go. We do see queen going down to d5. Like I said, that mate threat is there, bro. You're like, hey, man, like, why not, bro? Even though it's weird because this bishop is pinned to the king, but you can still support this queen in the face. It's just part of the rules of chess. We do see queen going to g4 check, and this is now protecting the g2 square. We do see king going over to b7. We got rook e to d1 because we got these open files, homie. So, I mean, let's throw an attack on this queen, bro. And it is actually this position that I think this has to be a misclick. I really feel like Kaasen thought that Wesley So was going to play a different move. And he was surprised when this move landed on the board. And he just realized that he hung his queen because he goes pawn takes a2. And there's no human that's going to be playing this move because there's really literally no rhyme or reason behind it. And this literally does just hang your queen. Rook does take d5. We got rook taking d5. So like I said, I mean, there's no way that Kaasen was like, hey, bro, I'm going to just go into this variation. So I feel like he does mouse slip a little bit. In the match that they played with each other, he actually got a couple of wins against Wesley So. So, I mean, you know, he definitely played some really, really good chess. But in this particular situation, like I said, I think he mouse slipped, like as sometimes you do. And then it goes downhill very quickly. We do see knight taking f7. We got the move h5. Really doesn't accomplish anything at all. We do see queen creeping up to e6. It's a better square for it anyway. Look how central it is. We do see rook going over to c5, and this actually would be a good defense if not for what white plays, and that is knight going to d8 with check. After we see the king going down to b6, we do see the very, very subtle bishop to d4. And at this point, Kaasen only has 4 seconds. So it's not like he lets his flag drop, but he does lose the game on time. So Wesley So wins this one on time. But, I mean, you're looking at the position going a little bit more forward. We don't have to really go into the moves. This bishop is pinning this rook down to this king. That means that this bishop is actually currently hanging. Not only is it pinned against this king, but it is absolutely hanging because this rook cannot defend it. Even if it could, this rook is there to back him up. So you really absolutely have nowhere that you can go if you are black in this position. You are completely 100% losing this position, no matter who you are. So that is why the game is ending. There's no way, you know, there's nothing forward, you know, for you to go forward to. So all of my people that are in the Philippines, maraming salamat na king makaibigan. Posa na nunod inga king ma video. Magandang umaga. I don't know how to say Happy New Year. I'm pretty confident somebody will tell me how to say that. Happy New Year in Tagalog. Yes, anybody who is coming from Norway, I will say God Morgan to you. Tusen tak for watching my stuff. And I'm going to see you guys next time.